technology.
Now,
Okay. So I will be able to send you the YouTube channel. I think I had that problem today when I was with some people. I was helping them set up some things on their internet. Okay, good evening, everyone. So
good
our
evening.
class today we will be looking at royalty account. And I will consider the farmers account. Some of you have submitted your answer for the farmers account, and I can tell you that you all did well. For some of you that you have some issues about the farmers account, does not mean that you don't know what you are doing. But I want you to just know is that it's just a bit of questions, item that you made some mistake. And those mistakes are not something far-fetched that will make you lose a lot of marks. Because what we actually looked at there is our ability to now link it to what we refer to as the final account. So what I'm trying to let you know now is that we now have the link to today's class, the link to the YouTube for today's class on your WhatsApp page. So for those of you that in case you go on transit, you still get the YouTube there. So I have sent the link to you. So I think by His grace, we should be able to say we are good to go. Any question for me? Is there any one of us that have any problem with the last thing that we did? Anybody?
No, sir.
There's nobody.
No, sir.
Okay, if there's no one, so let's quickly start. So we say naturally, unto God be glory, honor, and adoration. Almighty God and Father, we thank you for the little we're about to start. We pray, God Almighty, that the little will be more than enough. Inshallah, you count all our effort to success. So today's class will be going to royalty account. This is also one of the miscellaneous account that you have for ATS2 class. And I want you to know that this topic is one of those topics that is also very simple and very straightforward. When we talk about royalty, royalty is not something that is just coming new. Royalty has been with us since creation. Are we there now? When we say creation, we are saying since when we've been having human leading each other. Now, for those that are from the Yoruba race, you get to learn that what we call royalty is what they refer to as the shakole. Now, let me just give you a background. That royalty is actually an amount payable, are you there, to the owner of an asset in exchange for the right to use the asset. Are we there now? So, like for example, Nigerian federal government, if you look at what we are having, Nigerian federal government has what we call crude oil. In Nigerian government, we have what we call the crude oil. Now, for this crude oil, we have it all in this space. And this is Nigeria as its own. The Nigerian government cannot exploit all the crude oil. So what you can see is that some people will be given right to exploit maybe this side, this side, this side, this side, this side, this side, this side. Now, for each of all those wells, are you getting that now? They need to seek for rights. They need to seek for what class? For rights. The right to use the well. So in order for them to use the well, they need to tell the federal government, please, can you give us the right to use the well? So in order for them to use the well, they will collect so many licensing and all the rest. But one of the facts of those licensing I want us to look at is what we refer to as royalty. And as I told you earlier, we said that royalty is an amount. Get the keyword. We said royalty is what? An amount payable. The key word I want you guys to see there is royalty amount payable. To who? To the owner. To, why are you paying to the owner? To the owner of what? Of an asset. Are you getting that now? In exchange to have the right, and that is the key word, have the right to use, or we can say to explore the asset. To explore the what? Asset. Get the keyword amount payable to the owner of who? Of an asset in exchange to exercise the right. Now, all these points are what is now going to take us to what we look at in terms of when we talk about royalty. And that royalty is that who is the owner? Who is the person who wants to exchange the right? Are you getting that now? So when you are looking at that, that will take us to what we call the parties. Who are the parties in royalty contract? So the parties are very germane, and I want us to be very careful. We have what we call the owner. The owner sometimes are also referred to as what we call the landlord. They are also referred to as what we call the lessee. The lessor. So these are, we can say these categories are the owner. Then we now have what we call the tenant. The tenants are also referred to as the what? Lessee. In some other instance, these are also referred to as what we call the grantor. Why these are referred to as what we call the grantee. Be very, very careful when you are hearing those language. In normal terms, we have the landlord and the tenant that operates. But there are sometimes if the resources is very, very, very much, and it's something that the tenant cannot do, he cannot decided to enter into somebody else's agreement, which we refer to as what we call a subtenant. A subtenant. Or we refer to it as what we call a sub-leasing. Are we there now? Now let's look at this. There's somebody who owns a big farm. He decided to give the farm to Ola. And Ola haven't considered that he cannot explore the farm alone. Ola can decide to give it to who? To the subtenant. So when you look at this, it means the contract here naturally started with the owner and the tenant. But in order for the tenant to have what we call exploit use of that asset, he might decided to give it out to something to another party. Now note very well that royalty can also be seen as an amount payable under an agreement to use a property. You have that in your notes from what I've explained to you. So I'll just go to your notes. So by the time I come back, what we'll now do is for us to explain in detail. So we say circumstances under which rights can be granted to another party. What are those circumstances? Lack of access to the area where the right can be what economically utilized. Lack of financial resources for its exploration. Like in Nigeria now, we cannot explore all our crude oil ourselves. So we look at people. So what are the types of rights that we have? These have been asked in past questions. Types of rights, we have what called mineral rights, a right granted for exploration of mineral rights from the ground. Like in Nigeria now, can you give me an example of mineral rights in Nigeria? What are the example of mineral rights in Nigeria? I'm listening. Oh yeah, Godwin, Gabriel, Ajala, examples of mineral rights.
So is it like right to extract coal or gold or something?
Gold, that is good.
Yeah.
What again? So when you are looking at those rights, so which other one?
Like to extract crude oil,
Crude oil, that is another one. What again? I don't
limestone,
want, pardon?
limestone.
Limestone, that is good. So it means you guys know what we are looking at. And there is the one that the government just did now. It's about the one for the gold. People that are mining gold, because we are having a lot of issues in Zamfara. So what I want you to know is that what we are doing now is something that still relates. You might be called upon one of these days to come and look at the rights and how it's being paid. So we now have that. So we have copyright. Copyright, you can see that in the works of artists. If you look at it now, there's now a copyright commission for artists in Nigeria. Are you there now? So that when they play their music and you have I don't know if you have heard about COSON. COSON is a copyright. Are you there now? Agency that they collect royalty for those people that are singing. And you have that. You also have people that publish the book. So they collect rights. Are you there now? From the publisher and all the rest. So you also have a patent right. This is a right granted to use a device or a process patent by the originator. So you have all those rights. So who are the parties to royalty? I think I've explained that one. We said the owner of the asset, either or the right, the person who uses the asset of the royalty, and then the sublessee is that person that is being given the right. Now, from what I want you to know, that and note very well, the landlord is ignorant of the sublessee arrangement. In normal terms of this arrangement, the landlord does not know that the sublessee exists. Like this joke I always crack, and I always give to my students. A landlord in Lagos decided to give his house to a bachelor called Abiodun Ajala, Abiola Ajala. And Ajala has two other friends. Abiola Ajala, a bachelor, rented a 3-bedroom flat. And then Ajala brought in Gabriel and Daniel. If there's any issue in that house, will the landlord go to Gabriel?
No, sir.
Who will the landlord go to?
Ajala.
Why will he go to Ajala?
Was it Ajala that rented the apartment from him?
So that is a simple way of explaining a situation whereby the landlord is ignorant of the word subtenant. Are you there now? So if there's any issue, the landlord will. So in this case, we are going to look at the issue of landlord more, but the contract shall not be based. And one thing I want you to know, and that's why I'm going to explain this very well to you. Note very well, the landlord does not know the existence of the guy called Ajala, the existence of the subtenant. So if on the ground, the tenant of 50, and the survivor who is the subtenant, how much will the landlord be looking? We'll just look at his own transaction in terms of what? Of debt. So the landlord does not want to care, and this is very simple. Look at it. The landlord gave a land to the tenant, and he told the tenant, for every yam that you are bringing out, you'll be paying me 13 naira. And this tenant brought out 50 yams. How much will it give to the landlord?
10.
That is how much?
10.
50 naira, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that means he will not give, the landlord will be expecting how much? 700. But if this guy gets to 500 rather, if the tenant looked at it that we can still produce more and he brought in a subtenant, the landlord does not know that this is a subtenant because he will only just be looking at Ajala that maybe the subtenant doesn't participate. And in that case, this simply means that what we are going to have is that the subtenant is unknown. So the landlord will collect how much from the tenant? He will collect how much? 700. But the tenant can decide to collect whatever he wants from the subtenant, and that's unknown to the landlord. Are you getting what we are saying? Now, this junction, what I just want you to learn first is that a tenant can decide to have a subtenant. How this operates, we'll be looking at it in the further questions. Okay, let's now go on. Now, what are those terms and terminologies that are used? As we are using those terms, I'll be explaining it to you. I won't want to start from this terminology that says, are you with me? If you look at this one, it started by saying guaranteed minimum rent, royalty that. So what I'm going to do, I like to explain it my own way. Let's start by going this way. What we want to get to learn is that we want to know what are those terms. Now, what are those terms that you see that relate with this? Number one thing that we're going to get is what we call the royalty. amount. Sorry, the royalty. Are we there now? So when you talk about royalty, we are saying amount payable. Amount shaking you payable for right to use an asset. So let's just agree in this class that an amount payable to use an asset. How much do you think we are looking at? Let's just say IE. How much are you using to use an asset or to explore an asset? Give me amount. How much are you looking at? Give me any amount. I'm listening.
1,000.
Pardon?
20,000.
20,000. I think that is on the high side. Let's pick something like 20 naira. And we are saying that for everything you want to do, you are going to pay me 20 naira. Then number next we are going to learn is what we call units of exploration, or I will say utilization. Unit of what class? Utilization. So maybe for example, that would be an X unit, saying that okay, whatever is the amount you are going to do, the unit of exploration or utilization is an X unit. The next thing we are now going to learn now is now what we call royalty payable. What did I call it, class? Royalty payable. For us to get royalty payable, the rule is that we are going to say royalty. Are you there now? Times the unit of utilization. The unit of what?
Utilization.
Of what? Utilization. Now let's quickly just get answer to that. So when you say royalty agree times the unit of utilization is referred to as what called royalty what class? Payable. Are you getting that now? Royalty what? Payable. Now royalty payable is not something like this. Having gotten royalty payable, there's always an agreement between the landlord and the tenant, and that agreement is very simple. The landlord will tell the tenant so that the tenant will just tell you, no, I can do whatever I have. There's now what we call a minimum rent. What did I call it? A minimum work class. A minimum rent is referred to as what we call an agreed minimum royalty payable. An agreed minimum royalty what? Payable. So for example, the landlord will tell you, maybe in a particular year, I'm expecting 500 naira. I'm expecting how much? 500 naira. And that 500 naira, if it comes in that year and you cannot get the 500 naira, the landlord does not want to know you are going to pay him his money. And that is why when you are looking at it at the end of the day, we now talk about what we call royalty paid. Royalty what class paid. This represents what we call the actual royalty paid. Are you there now? And this royalty paid, note very well, is always higher of two values. Higher of royalty payable. Are you there now? Or minimum rent. Or what did I call it? Minimum what? Rent. So let's take an example. I'll stop here so I'll quickly take an example. And I'll build on it. I'm going to teach you something that I'll call royalty schedule. And that royalty schedule, I'll build on it. So let's say, for example, we have the years. We have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. And we're talking about the units that have been produced, maybe for something. We have year 100, we have year 150, we have 180, we have 210, and we have 250. Are we together? We are not told, according to this question, these are the agreement that we have. Let's see what we have as in the agreement. In the agreement, it was agreed that it's going to pay 10 naira per unit. 10 naira per what class? Unit. So that is the agreement. So can I ask class, what would be the royalty payable? Okay, can you give me what will be the royalty payable for each of the years?
For year one, it's going to be 1,000.
For year one, it's going to be how much? I'm coming so that we will enjoy it graphically. For year one, how much is it going to be?
1,000 naira.
How do we get 1,000 naira?
10 naira
times.
So that gives us 1,000 naira. For year two, what do I have?
1,500.
For year three, what do I have?
1,800.
1,800.
For year three, what do I have?
2,100.
For year four, 2,100. For this, you go.
2,500.
Okay. So if that be the case, let's now go. So what we have done here is to show us what we have been taught here, what we call royalty payable. So how do we get royalty payable? That is the royalty agreed and the unit of what?
Unit of
Unit of
exploration.
what? Utilization. Do you all get that? So now let's now go to what we call minimum rent. So let's agree in this policy. Don't forget, in this policy, the owner of this line has said, please, every year, are you there now? As well call his own minimum rent. And I want you to know that minimum rent is also referred to as well called dead rent. Are we there now? He has said for each year you are going to pay me 800 naira. You are going to pay me what?
800 naira.
800 naira. Are we there now? So which simply means, look up, the amount of minimum rent here will be how much? 800. Amount here will also be what? 800. Amount here will also be what? This will also be what? 800. And this will also be what? 800. Hope you get what I'm saying. Do you understand? Now, the next thing we are now to learn is what we call royalty pay. Royalty what? Pay. Now, let's be very careful about that. Royalty pay. Now, please, I want you to pay attention to that royalty pay. What is the definition of royalty pay here? Somebody read it, please.
Actual.
Royalty paid.
That is
the higher of what?
higher of royalty payable on minimum rent.
Okay, now look up. Now that means for us to get this one, we'll look at the higher between these two. Which one is higher?
1,000 royalty payable.
And what's the name? Royalty what? Payable. So that is the amount that will be paid. Are we there now? That will be the amount that will be what? Paid. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, if the landlord does not want to, you can't come to that and say, you said I should pay 800. No, 800 is the part as well called minimum rent. Part as well as minimum rent, meaning that you must not pay less than 800. So let's go to the second year. How much are we going to pay also?
1,500.
1,500.
5. How much are we going to pay in the third year?
1,800.
How much are we going to pay in the fourth year?
2,100.
How much are we going to pay in the fifth year?
2,500.
Are we there now? So that is what we have explained. Is there any
I want
question?
to ask a question. Yes, sir.
Yes, ask me.
Sir, what if the minimum rent is higher than the royalty payable? Are we going to post the minimum rent?
That is a good question. According to Daniel, let's ask, what happened when the minimum rent is greater than the royalty payable. Daniel, is that your question?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Now, a big question and it's not very hard. Once you get a situation where the what minimum rent is greater than the royalty payable, we refer to such as what we call short working. What did I call it, class? Short working. Short what? Short working. So, and this is a past question. You have it in one of your past question in objective question. Now you ask, are you there? Where the minimum rent is greater than the royalty payable, such is referred to as dash in royalty account. What would be the answer? Short
Short
working.
working.
Short working. Are you getting that now? That is referred to as what? Short working. Now you see this short working now is not something that he also have his own policy. Because what we are saying is this, for example, you only use the land and maybe you have to pay 1,000 and the landlord have told you is 1,500. Is that what will now happen? So you just be saying 1,500, 1,500. But this is what they have come about in terms of the rule. Is that in case there is a tenant that has short working and it has what we call a surplus in future. A surplus in what? In future. Such surplus, are you there now, cannot be used to recoup the short working. Cannot be used to recoup the work. The short taking you short working. So what we have done now, let's look at an example. Let's take an example. If you are there, I am there. So then we'll go back to what we call our royalty payable schedule. I'll still have to give you a full question, but let me still go in this way. So we have here year 1, year 2, 3, and 4. I would like to stop at that point. So this one now, you guys will be the one to give me answers to some of the items. So yeah, and now I will call units. And now I will call royalty payable. Then I will call my minimum rent. Then I now will call royalty paid. Then I will introduce something now. We call it short working. And that short working I'll carry forward. I'm going to have what we call recoup. Then I will now have something I will introduce for you. We call it lapse. Now let's start. I have here 200. I have 210. I have 215, and I have 300. But we are now told, let me just give you the clause of the contract. They have the following clause. We're told that we're having 20 naira per unit. That is the first clause. Then I'm being told that I have a minimum rent of that is of 6,000 naira per annum. Okay, class, let's solve. So what is going to be my royalty payable for year 1? Oh, yeah, I need your help now. How much?
400.
4,000.
Sorry, 4,000.
How much?
4,000.
4,000.
4,000. What's for the second year?
4,200.
4,002.
4,200. For the third year?
5,000.
For the fifth year?
1,000.
6,000.
Okay, so let's now get our minimum rent. A minimum rent, we have 6,000, 6,000. We have what? 6,000. Can I do something so that we can enjoy this minimum rent? Can I make it 4,000, 4,500 so that we'll be able to enjoy some things because I want to make sure I'm also being able to teach you something. Can I have 4,500, 4,500, 4,500, 4,500? Okay, let's start. In the first year here, we are not to compare. If I compare this with this, what is greater?
Minimum rent.
4,000.
4,500, Abby. So I will have 4,500.
Yes, sir.
Now, the big question we are now having is that how much did the organization actually work? It worked for 4,000. But how much has it paid?
4,005.
So it means that it's going to have what we call a short working of how much? 500.
500.
A short working of how much?
500.
500.
So
Are
what's
we
that
there?
heading? What's the heading under the 500? On top of the 500 rather.
That is carried forward.
Okay.
Are we there now?
Yes, sir.
See, now the next thing we are now having, in this second year again, there's an issue. How much is the amount that you actually work for?
4,200.
4,200, Abby.
Yes, sir.
But what is the dead rent? Because this is the amount you actually work for. The dead
Yeah.
rent is now say 4,500. That means there's another short working of how much?
300 naira.
There's another short working of how much, class?
300.
100. So
300.
that means I have 300 plus how much do I have before?
500,
500.
What will now be the new short working that we have?
800.
800.
Do we get that? Any question? So we move to the next one. Now let's look at this place. It's a bit tricky now. How much do we have here? 5,000. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And how much do we have here? 4,500. Now let's see. That is now when I explain to you what we call recoupment policy. Are we there? So let's now come to this side. This guy had 5,000 excess. He had 5,000 what? Excess. Sorry, he has
500.
5,000 royalty payable now. So and how much is it? So what is the excess that he has? 500. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So he can talk to the landlord that, Mr. Landlord, please, I'm going to pay you, Mr. Lord, I'm going to pay you 4,500. I'm going to pay you 4,000 what?
500.
500. Because in the past, I have shortfall. So what I'm going to now do is that you see that 500 that is excess. Let me use it to recoup. Let me use it to recoup my what? Past loss. Did you get what I'm saying now? Any
No.
question at that point? Should I start again?
But, sir,
Okay, let me start again. Look at this point, what we have at this point. How much is the amount that we are having as the royalty payable?
5,000.
Then how much is the minimum rent?
4,500.
4,500.
Do you know that if there's nothing like short working, we would have just paid how much? We just come and say 5,000, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But there's a rule that because he's having a short working, and normally as we proceed in the question, there's going to be some rules. Because he's having a short working and there's an inherent belief with us now that he can recoup his short working. So we now ask ourselves, what is the excess that he is having? Are you getting that now? What is the excess that he is having? Between this 5,000, are we there now? And this 4,500, what is the excess?
500.
500.
500. So we'll come here and come under short working. We'll now say recoup. So if he has recouped 500, how much will be the balance for 5? Are you
300.
getting that?
Yes, sir.
Now there's something I want you to understand here. According to the royalty policy, the landlord must never collect anything less than the minimum rent. The landlord must never collect anything less than the what? The minimum rent. So what is the minimum rent of the landlord?
4,500.
4,500. So the landlord collects is 4,500. So what is the excess that the tenant can recoup from?
500.
500. So in that case, we now ask ourselves the question, what is the amount that is now left from the short working?
300.
That's right. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to this last one. What is the amount of the royalty payable here?
6,000.
What is the minimum rent?
6,000.
4,500.
And the short working that we have to repeat here is how much? 300.
1,500.
You don't come here and say, landlord collect 4,500. You can't come here and say landlord collect 4,500 and the remaining 1,500 and you say no. You cannot make any profit out of your landlord. Like the normal way we always talk about the guys that are the garage. And Eruku cannot make money from the upper. So the thing we are saying is that how much does he have? How much is the amount that he has? How much does he have?
1,500.
So the amount that he still has in order for him to receive there now 300 because that is the excess. That is the excess. So you will now go and tell yourself that is the excess. So you remove, are you there now? And say the short working that you can only recoup is how much? 300. So if you now remove 300 from 6,000, how much do you have left?
5,700.
5,000. So that is that. So this is a question whereby you have a short working and you can recoup. And the rule is that you can only recoup what was your past loss or shortfall. Are you there now? Your past short working. So you cannot recoup above what was your what? Past short working. Any question? Have any question?
Yes, sir.
If you have any question, I have a class work for you. Can I move to yes? Is anybody with any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ask.
So I don't understand. I got the 5,700.
Okay, I repeat. When you got there, let's just start all over again. In getting to this point, what is the amount that we have here? Let's look at it. We have 6,045. Normally, you would have come here and said you are writing 6,000. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, but you can't write 6,000 because there's something already that is outstanding, which is a short working. And how much is still the balance of the short working that we have?
300.
300. And the rule says that you can recoup your short working. So I will now recoup this 300. Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm
Yes,
telling you now that I've recouped this 300. So if I'm recouping this 300, it means the amount I'm having here of 6,000 will reduce by how much?
300.
So what will now be the amount of my royalty paid?
5,700.
What will be the amount?
5,700.
5,000 what? 700.
700.
Any question?
Sir,
Yes.
said in the question, okay, we
Listen, you want me to give you another question? Huh?
hello, sir.
Yes, I'm listening.
I said, is it going to be stated in the questions?
Yes, all
That
this will be stated. What I'm still doing now is your ability to do this. because I'm going to still give you a full question, and I want you to know this one is still the schedule. You are still going to the ledger, because the examiner will ask you ledger. But if you can understand this schedule very well, by the time we get to the ledger, it will be very, very simple.
Okay. What of the column for the labs?
Thank you. That is a good question. Let's assume that you could not recoup all this money, and that is when you start seeing policy. The examiner might tell you that you should be able to only recoup your short working in 2 years. So if you work for 2 years and you cannot recoup the money, it becomes lapse. Are you there now? So we are going to get to that one. But let me see you guys try this classwork. So let's have this classwork. So I just have to prepare the royalty schedule or Ola Limited pay. Are you there now? Now you just have, for this I'll just have year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4. Then you now work for units. Unit here you have 150, you have 220, you have 250, and you have 300. Now listen, and I have all the clause. Are we there now? Or condition. I have number 1. We are told that it is what? 10 naira per unit. Then I now have what called minimum rent. And the minimum rent I'm having here very simple is 2,000. Are you there? 2,300. So class is up for you. Prepare the schedule for me. Oh, yeah. Today you are going to share your screen. Oh, yeah, prepare the schedule. So you started. Yeah, I'm getting my own table ready. So prepare the schedule.
Is it for Ola Iton Limited or what?
Ola Limited, just prepare the schedule. I'm waiting. So once you are through, you just tell me so that we'll be able to know where we are. We have like 5 minutes to 10. So once you guys can do this schedule, we'll be able to move to the lecture. What is the answer? is true? Ajala, are you true? Grace? Daniel? What is the answer? So that once we can finish this, then we'll go to the lecture. But there's still one thing for me to teach you. That is now how to use policy. If you are told that maybe the minimum rent, the short working is only to be refilled in 2 years. Let me answer. Is there any answer? Who has finished? Who has finished though? Yeah, I can tell. You got me? Okay, can I move on? What is the answer? Who has finished? Okay.
Sir, I'm done. I think.
Who is done? Ajala.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Ajala. So Ajala is done. Do you want to share your screen or you just give us the figure?
I will share, sir.
Okay. So let's see you share. Okay, I will stop sharing. Ajala, yeah, share. I can't see Ajala. Okay, we are seeing you. Good. Everybody can see what Ajala is doing. Okay, Ajala, let's analyze your work while everybody is watching. So see everybody what Ajala has done. Okay, Ajala is good like that. So from the first one, we have 1 5. We have 2,200. We have 2,500, 3,000. The minimum rent, they are all there, 2,003, 2,003. Okay, let's see. Amount payable is 2,3. So what's the difference between 2,300 and 1,5? That is 800. Are we there, class? Then we now have 2003 and that is 900. Now, Ajala, how did you get this 900? That is 100 plus 800. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this year now, 2,500. Yes, 2,500. And from here that you have the 2,500. So what I want to be very careful about is that now that you now have 2,500, that means you can recoup 200 out of the 700 out there. So let's go to the final year. The final year too, you can recoup the whole 700. So this is correct. Ajala, that is correct. Good one. Do we have any other person that wants to share? Is there any other person? Any other person? Take your floor. Nobody? Okay. If nobody is sharing, I'll continue my class. I'll continue from where Ajala stopped. So, and it's very simple. So we can just solve from what Ajala have done. He has really been of help. So class, if I am there, this is 1,500.
Dr.
This is
Ganu,
2,000. This is 2,500, and this is 3,000. Then what I have as my minimum rent? 2,300, 2,300, 2,300, 2,300. The rent paid is going to be 2,000 what? 300. But at this point, there's an issue of what we call minimum rent, and then with that, so we have a short working of how much? 2,300 minus 1,500. How much do I have?
800.
So here too, I'm having 2,300. But what we observe at this point is that there's a 100 short working here plus the existing of 800. So that will give us an amount of how much? 900. So we'll move to the next one, 2,500. So by 2,500 means that we can recoup 200. So how much do we have as balance here? 700. Are we together? Then in the final year, we have 3,000, which means you can recruit the whole 700. Are you getting what we are doing? And what do I have here now? I will now have 2,300. Any question? Is there anybody that did not get that? Is there anybody? Nobody. Can I go on then?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now, I haven't done this now. This is very simple, as if I'm giving you in form of language and all the rest. So there's now the last aspect I now want to put. Is now what we call a clause. That let's assume you are told that the recruitment is only for 2 years. Look at this now. If this recruitment is only after 2 years, meaning that this 800, you can only recoup in this year 1 and year 2. That means you have only recouped 200 and that. So I'm going to just use this one. This same question, our classwork. I just asked. So I'll say using the class work. So now say the policy of recoupment is after 2 years of occurrence. After 2 years of what? Occurrence. After 2 years of what?
Occurrence.
So that will change a lot of things. So let me now give you what the solution look like. How many years do we have in that question?
4 years.
4 years. I know what is unit? What is unit value that we have?
150.
150, 220, 250, and 300.
220 and what? 250 and what? 300.
300.
Let's now go royalty payable. What's the amount of royalty payable? We have 1,005. We have here 2,200. We have here 2,500. We have here 3,000. Now we now have our minimum. So what's the value of the minimum rent?
2,300.
So now that we have 2,300, we can have. So what is now our royalty paid? So let's get there. We now have our short working. So This time around, don't forget that we are saying that there will be short working recoupable in that. So in this first year, how much will I pay? 2,300. With a short working of how much? 800. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Then this second year too will be 2,300. But my short working now will now be 100 plus the existing 800. That will give me how much?
900.
Do we get that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's now go the third year. In this third year now, what the rule is telling us in the third year is that we are having 2,500. And it means that this 2,500 is greater than this. So that means they will be recouping how much? 200.
200.
Now listen, they said the policy of recoupment is after 2 years of occurrence. This 8,000, this 800, which is the short working, you can only recoup it in 2 years. This is year one and this is year two. So if you go to year two, how much can you recoup? How much
800.
can you recoup in year two? 800. Out of how much?
Out of 800.
800. So it simply means that the balance of 600 will become what? Lapse. The balance of 600 will become what? Lapse.
Labs.
I will re-explain. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, what we are saying is that we are told that the policy now says that the policy, are you there now, is after 2 years of occurrence. After checking you, after 2 years of occurrence. 2 years. So that means this short working occurred in year one. And for you to recoup it, you have how many years?
2.
2. So this is year one
Yes.
and this is the year two. In the year two, how much can you recoup?
200.
Out of how much?
800.
So how much can you not recoup again? Because when they say that you
600.
can only recoup after 2 years, so it means after 2 years you cannot take money out again. So how much will remain? 600. So this 600 shall become what? Lapse. Because
Labs.
that one now you cannot come tomorrow and say you are recouping. Are you getting that now? So how much will now remain from the amount of the carrying forward of short working?
100.
God bless you. Dan, mo jẹ́ ní kí ni máa pè náà? Mo jẹ́ ní àtẹ́wọ́ kan. So it means the balance we are having is now how much?
100.
You get that now? And the amount that will be paid will be 2,300. So by the time we come to this final year,
Hello?
will be the amount that we can recoup. How much is now the landlord is going to collect will be 2,900. You understand that? Any question? Any question?
How do we get this 2,100?
Okay, I will re-explain. Let's start again. I will go back to what we did up here. Okay. Did you guys get it up to this point? Now,
Yes, sir.
in this year now, we have 200 that we are going to recoup. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. For this 200, the rule says that it must be after 2 years. Now, this 200 will not be on all the 900. It will affect 800. And we are saying that this 800 for the first 2 years. So this one is year one. And this is the second, this is the year of occurrence. Then this is year one. This second year now, the excess that we have that we can use to recoup is how much? 200.
200.
So, and that 200 is telling us that in this 200, I can only use it to recoup from 600, so from 800. So, which means that the balance of 600 will become what? Lakhs. Do you get that now? So, if I have a short working of 900, 200 has been recouped, and 600 is left, how much will be the amount that we can still carry forward?
100.
100.
100. Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
So I can carry 100 forward. Now we are now in year 4. Now listen, everybody in year 4. So in year 4 now, how much can we recoup? Because we are having excess. We are having 3,000. Are you there now? And the
Yes, sir.
short work and the minimum rent is 2,300. So how much can we recoup? Because giving 100, yes, so I can only recoup how much?
100.
100. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So if I recoup this 100, how much will the landlord now collect? Don't forget, how much is the landlord entitled to?
2,300.
The landlord is entitled to how much? 3,000, abi? And he has given me the opportunity to recoup 100. So how much will I give to him as balance?
2,900.
So that's that. Any other question, Gabriel? Are you guys all clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm going to do today is not to start making you guys to start beating around and all the rest. What I always do on the first topic is your ability to understand the schedule. And once you can get this schedule, our work is very, very great. Are we getting that now? So let's now see what this always look like in exam question. So I'm still coming to the accounting entry, but not today because I don't want to even let you guys get to that place and start getting scared. Look at this question now. We're told that Amaka Enterprises. Are you there now? Let's just look at it from they said from the information given above, prepare the schedule of royalty payable. They said we are told Amaka Enterprises who engage in the sales of plastic. Are you there? Decided of recent to diversify into oil and gas. The following is the agreement between Amaka Enterprises and Kehinde, who is the principal owner of the oil field. Royalty is paid per unit extracted. The agreement is for 5 years. The royalty is paid based on 10 naira per barrel, and the extraction quantity is as follows. In this question, is there any minimum rent?
No.
No.
No. Is there any minimum rent?
No.
No.
So if there's no minimum rent, I'm sure you guys should be able to do that. So the one you are going to do for me, and I want you to know this, when this question was asked, I have to modify the name. A lot of students ran away. Look at the question. Two-Face, a musician, enters into a recording and marketing agreement with Kenny's Music Limited in respect of his new song, From Grace to Grass. The agreement details
That's
are shown below. Minimum royalty of how much?
80,000.
80,000.
80,000 must be paid. The contract is for how many years?
4 years.
Oh, yeah.
How much is how many years? For 4
4
years.
years.
Okay. And the short working, and we are told the short working are recoverable in the next what?
2
2
years.
years following the year in which it was occurred.
Occurred.
Now look at this question is a bit unique. The Kenny's Music Limited made the following sales. Each CD costing 100 naira, and we are told royalty payable is 50% per CD what?
So,
Sold. So in this case, they did not give you a unit. They are telling you how the policy should be. So what I'm going to do, and that is where we are going to end the class, is that you go home. This is now your assignment. Question number 2, prepare the royalty schedule. So what's our assignment? Question
question
number
number
2, we are required to prepare the royalty what? Schedule.
schedule.
So our assignment, which is going to be Assignment is question number what?
2.
Question number 2. So what are we required to do? Required. Prepare the what? Royalty schedule. That is that. So when am I going to get my answer? So we are asked, prepare the royalty what? Schedule. So that will be the end of the class. And I will be getting, I want you to get back to me as soon as possible.